What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm making NFL Week 4 picks, so let's hop into it. And if you like these types of videos, please consider subscribing. It would really mean a lot to me. But anyway, last week picking games, my record was 6-10, so pretty bad, and that brings my overall record to 27-21. So hopefully I can do a lot better this week. So let's just hop straight into the Thursday night football game, and we have an NFC East battle between the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. Both of these teams are actually 1-2, with both of their wins coming against the Cleveland Browns, so not really that impressive. Obviously, one of these teams is going to get the win here, and I do have it being the Dallas Cowboys by a final score of 27-16. The Giants, even though they did get the win against the Browns, they still didn't look that great. They kind of handed the Browns multiple opportunities to win that game, but the Browns couldn't capitalize, and they got their win. Meanwhile, the Cowboys, they absolutely embarrassed the Browns, and the Cowboys, they played a very close game against the Ravens, almost coming back to beat them, but they just fell short. So overall, the Cowboys, even though both of these teams are 1-2, I do feel like have the better team overall. Moving on over to our Sunday slate of games, our first game is between the Denver Broncos and the New York Jets, and this is my first upset pick of the week, as I have the Denver Broncos going on the road and getting a win against the Aaron Rodgers-led Jets. Bo Nix and the Broncos were able to upset the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last week, so they're riding pretty high. It was their first win of the season, and I think they can carry some of that momentum into this game against the Jets. Even though the Jets are 2-1, they definitely still have their flaws. They're definitely not an unbeatable team. And this week, I just have them having the short side of the stick, getting upset at home. The Broncos get their second win of the season by a final score of 22-20. And moving on over to the NFC North, we have the Minnesota Vikings on the road against the Green Bay Packers. And this game could really go either way, but the big questions around this game is honestly the quarterbacks. Sam Darnold last week had a knee injury, and he did have some tests done, and it wasn't anything major. I don't think there was any damage. And I'm pretty sure Sam Darnold is going to play, but it's still kind of up in the air. The Packers, on the other hand, Jordan Love's kind of like a game time decision, but Malik Willis in his place has gone 2-0, so I don't think there's too much cause for concern for the Packers. And this game could really go either way. If it is Sam Darnold against Malik Willis, I do have the Vikings winning it. If Jordan Love comes back, I still do have the Vikings winning it just because, he's been out for a couple of weeks, so there might be a little bit of rust he needs to knock off. But I do have the Vikings winning a close one in Green Bay by a final score of 23-21. Then moving on down to the NFC South, we have the New Orleans Saints on the road against the Falcons. Both of these teams did lose last week. The Saints lost a close one to the Eagles, and the Falcons put up a really good fight against the Kansas City Chiefs, but ultimately fell short. This is another divisional game that could really go either way, and I do have these teams splitting the regular season series. So this first game, I do have the Saints taking it over the Falcons by a final score of 27-24. But later on in the season, when they play, bearing any major injuries, I do think the Falcons will even up the season series. But yeah, I think the Saints will take this first game in Atlanta by a final score of 27-24. Then we have the Philadelphia Eagles on the road at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So another pretty big matchup between NFC teams. The Eagles coming off a solid win against the New Orleans Saints. The Buccaneers coming off an upset loss to the Denver Broncos. So they're definitely looking to rebound. And the key thing for the Eagles here is they might be without both receivers, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. So that's just a huge loss for them. If they don't have either of those guys, I feel like it'll be very hard for the Eagles offense to really move the ball. So I do have the Buccaneers winning this game by a final score of 28-23. But as of right now, both of those receivers are questionable to play. If something changes later in the week, this game could flip in the Eagles' favor. But as of right now, as the recording of this video, I have the Buccaneers over the Eagles. Then we have the Cincinnati Bengals at the Carolina Panthers. And I'm pretty sure if you would have asked anybody at the start of the season if Joe Burrow and the Bengals would have started out 0-3, I'm pretty sure everybody would have said no. But here we are, week 4 of the NFL season. The Bengals still haven't won a game yet. The Panthers, on the other hand, have actually won a game. Last week, they benched quarterback Bryce Young. Andy Dalton came in and, I don't want to say embarrassed the Raiders, but he took care of business, got Carolina their first win of the season. The Bengals, every single one of their 3 losses have been a one-score loss. So it's not like they're getting absolutely blown out of the water in these games. And once again, this week, I think this will be a one-score game. And I have the Panthers actually getting the better of the Bengals. So another upset pick here, as I have the Panthers winning a pretty high-scoring game by a final score of 34-28. So moving on over to the AFC South, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars on the road against the Houston Texans. The Jaguars are another surprise team that hasn't won a game yet this year. The Texans coming off a pretty big loss to the Vikings last week. The Jaguars also coming off a pretty big loss to the Bills. So both of these teams looking to rebound, looking to put up a better showing. The Jaguars actually just looking to get into the win column altogether. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think just like the Bengals, they're going to start the season off 0-4. as the Texans take care of business at home, knocking off a divisional rival by a final score of 30-14. Then we have the 3-0 Pittsburgh Steelers on the road against the Indianapolis Colts, and the Steelers are another surprise team. I don't think anybody really thought they were going to start the season off 3-0, but here we are. Justin Fields has locked himself in as QB1 for the Steelers. Their defense, best defense in the league, going up against Anthony Richardson and the Colts, and I don't think the Colts really stand much of a chance in this game. I do feel like it will be a pretty low-scoring game, as I have the Steelers winning it by a final score of 17-7. But Anthony Richardson has 3 touchdowns to 6 picks going up against the best defense in the league. I don't think things are going to go well for him, as the Steelers just cruise to a 4-0 start to the season. Then we have the Los Angeles Rams on the road against the Chicago Bears. The Rams will be without receivers Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, so pretty big blow to that Rams offense. But last week they were able to have a comeback, a double-digit comeback win against the San Francisco 49ers. So can't rule out the Rams. The Bears, on the other hand, they started off the season with a win, kind of been downhill from there, haven't won a game since. So I know they're looking to rebound, and this Rams team is a tough team. I don't think the Bears are going to get it done. Caleb Williams and this Bears offense definitely showing growing pains, rookie growing pains, all that stuff. So even though there might be bright spots in this game for the Bears, I do have the Rams winning it by a final score of 27-17. Then we have the Washington Commanders on the road against the Arizona Cardinals. The Commanders coming off a huge win against the Bengals last week. The Cardinals, they did lose to the Lions in a pretty closely fought game, and I do have the Cardinals winning at home by a final score of 26-24. Jaden Daniels might be the best rookie quarterback so far. At least in my opinion, he's been the best rookie quarterback this season. So the Commanders definitely will be competitive in this game, and they have a very real shot at winning it. But the Cardinals, even though they're 1-2, they have played pretty good football, and I have them getting this win at home. Then we have the New England Patriots on the road against the San Francisco 49ers. Both of these teams are 1-2. The 49ers have been absolutely riddled with injuries. Christian McCaffrey's out, Deebo Samuel's out. George Kittle, I'm pretty sure, is questionable for this game. Brock Purdy has a back injury. He's considered day-to-day, so he might not even play in this game. Both of these teams are coming off losses, so it's not looking good for either of these teams. But I do have the 49ers winning this game at home by a final score of 23-16. Then we have the Cleveland Browns on the road against the Las Vegas Raiders. Both of these teams are also 1-2. The Browns' lone win coming against the Jaguars. The Raiders' lone win coming in an upset win in Baltimore. And the Browns look absolutely horrible. Like, if you've watched any of their games, it's been bad. Offensive line, quarterback play, their defense has been spotty at points, and the injury bug hasn't helped them either. Wyatt Teller's going to be out for this game. There's a chance Myles Garrett's going to be out for a little bit with a foot injury. So things really not trending in the Browns' direction. And I do have the Raiders getting the win at home by a final score of 21-9. Then we have an AFC West matchup. We have the Kansas City Chiefs on the road against the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chiefs haven't lost a game yet this year. The Chargers coming off a loss last week against Pittsburgh. And the Chargers might be without Justin Herbert at this game. I'm not 100% sure if he will play or not. I know Herbert's been battling that injury for over a week now. So if he plays at 50% or if he doesn't play at all, I don't think that bodes well for the Chargers at all, as the Chiefs kind of cruise to a win in LA, as I have them winning this game by a final score of 34-14. So then moving on to our Sunday night football game, we have the Buffalo Bills on the road against the Baltimore Ravens. Bills haven't lost a game yet. They've looked, honestly, like probably the best team in the NFL, at least in my opinion. The Ravens, on the other hand, finally got their first win of the year last week against the Cowboys. So things are trending in the right direction for them, even though they're 1-2 as well. And I do have the Bills winning in Baltimore by a final score of 31-26. Just because since the start of the season, the Bills have been a pretty complete team. Not too many hiccups for them. And I don't think they're going to have too much trouble with the Ravens, just because the Ravens have struggled at points this season. So I have the Bills going into Baltimore and getting a win against the Ravens. And our first of 2 Monday night football games, we have the Tennessee Titans on the road against the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins last week were down to their third-string quarterback in Tim Boyle. So I'm not 100% sure who the Dolphins starting quarterback for this game will be. Will it be Tim Boyle? Will it be Tyler Huntley? But either way, without Tua, who's on injured reserve, the Dolphins offense has not been able to get it done whatsoever. They scored like 10 points against the Bills. They had 3 last week in their loss against the Seahawks. So whoever their quarterback is definitely needs to get it done. They haven't done it so far. The Titans, on the other hand, haven't won a game yet, but they've been in games. So I do believe Tennessee will finally break through and get the win, their first win of the year on Monday Night Football against the Dolphins by a final score of 20-10. And then our last game of the week, our second Monday Night Football game, is between the Seahawks and the Lions. I do have the Lions winning at home by a final score of 24-20. And even though the Seahawks are 3-0, I feel like they definitely have had an easier schedule than the Lions. They played teams like Denver, New England, and Miami without Tua. So not really too much competition for them. Detroit, on the other hand, they've played Tampa Bay. That was their only loss. They played the Rams. They beat them. They played the Cardinals, who played them tough. They beat them. So Detroit, I just feel like they're a little bit more battle tested than the Seahawks, and they're able to get the job done at home. Like I said, by a final score of 24-20. So yeah, those are my NFL Week 4 picks. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Leave your thoughts down below. Make sure you like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. I will catch you with another picks video next week. I hope you all have a good day, and God bless.